Hi, thank you for joining me. This is going to be a reading for Libra. You can have Libra as your sun sign or anywhere in your chart, or you may just come across this video and there might be a helpful message here for you. Okay, so let's see what messages we have for Libra. What would be most helpful for Libra to know right now? Ooh, that's a lot. But I feel like there might be a story here. So let's see. Okay, the first card we have is the fear card. And the green energy standing out to me, which is heart chakra. So Libra, there might be something. First of all, you might be having chest pain, physical heart pain, as a result of emotional heartache. And I feel like this is, you might feel sad or some sort of grief out of nowhere, or you've been feeling it and you don't know what it's about. And this is trying to come to the surface for your awareness so that you can move out of the darkness into the light. And that doesn't mean that things are bad in your life or there's any negative things. Darkness is just not seeing things, and fear is false evidence appearing real. So what I'm getting is there might be some fear around, and this is not necessarily a current experience. This is past experience or experiences that has created sort of a heart block where, say, as a child, and again, childhood wounds is such a thing. It really is. There's a lot of who we become that comes from our childhood, but it doesn't necessarily have to be specifically childhood. Like if you have had to show up in certain ways in relationships with people, you might fear getting hurt, so you are not always vulnerable, or it's not easy for you to be vulnerable or sensitive or really open up your heart. There's some sort of, we all have different mechanisms to protect ourselves, and our psyche does that. It's its job. Our mind does that. Our ego does that. It's the job, right? But if we are aware of it, we can almost switch it on and off, and not in a manipulative, deceitful, or bad way. So instead of always being guarded and defensive when it comes to intimacy, whether that's physical, emotional, mental, familial, platonic, romantic, whatever it is, then we can instead use discernment, and it might be very valid to keep certain boundaries and not show your vulnerability to everyone, because there's a saying that goes, something about being emotionally vulnerable is like bleeding next to a shark with some people, but you don't want to keep everyone out. And this comes with our intuition and our discernment improving, where you can learn to decipher when it is safe for you to open up your heart. And sometimes, even if you don't know for sure, because nothing is certain, even people that don't mean to hurt you can hurt you, but you can sometimes let the guard down and you can use your discernment and your intuition. And even then, sometimes we will still get hurt, emotionally, physically, in whatever way. But we don't have to be naive and just let our guard down and let people hurt us. But maybe it's necessary to consider, now I'm channeling and not even using the cards. I don't know where this is coming from, but clearly someone needs to hear it. You might have to be tough in the industry that you work in, or with your family, because that's how everybody is. They're stoic or nonchalant or whatever, or in previous times your kindness was taken advantage of, people had hidden motivations, and you didn't realize it, or you did realize it, but you gave people the benefit of the doubt and you got hurt, right? So, fear doesn't mean that you're weak. Fear doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. Fear just means that I didn't like that and I don't want that to happen again. So now I'm protecting myself. But it's not about not letting anything in. It's about knowing what to let in, when to let in. And our boundaries isn't about keeping people out. It's about us setting limits for ourselves as to what we will and will not do, how much we will and will not do, how much we will tolerate and accept. But it's a give and take. It's not always, it can't always be a rigid boundary with everyone and everything all the time. And it's possible that some sort of fear around love or opening up your heart is keeping you stuck in some way. And this can manifest as being stuck in your life, metaphorically, or feeling stuck inside or some aspect of your life. And it's not always obvious how. Sometimes we are put in a position and kept there by divine guidance, so that we can take a moment, sit there and feel what we're feeling, and that it doesn't stay underneath the surface, that we're like, okay, I see that, and it doesn't have to be fear anymore. I see it. So now when a new relationship, whether that, whatever kind of relationship that is, or even our existing relationships, maybe you want to experience more connection with family or friends, or even whoever, yourself. Maybe you're not the type of person to show affection, public displays of affection, or you show love by acts of service, but there's a part of you that yearns for physical touch as a love language, or you're not the type of person to express verbally, say to people in a very expressive, very vulnerable, sensitive way how you feel, but you show them love and kindness in other ways. But there's still some sort of space that can be bridged with people that are worth it. And then the last card has come up in one of or both of the previous two readings I've done for this series. And this can be the loss of a big asset, a physical, material, or financial asset, but it can be something else, a relationship that is big and meaningful in our lives, or a part of ourselves even. Let's see what's at the bottom of the deck. Fragmented energy, more green. I feel like you're not really stuck, but something might just be put on pause, or something is not moving forward. And there's one missing piece, and it's the heart piece, right? That doesn't mean you're not a loving and kind person, but there's something around your heart chakra that needs to come to your awareness. Let's see. Let's use some tarot. And I'm hearing not this one. Okay, which one? The angels? Okay, that's the deck then. This is what I was hearing, and although I feel some resistance to using this deck, but clearly there's a reason, because my Virgo OCDness, I didn't use this deck for the other two, but for you Libra, I'm being guided to use this one. Tell us more about this fear, this heart chakra stuff. Let's get one for each. The moon, That's number 18 card. Archangel Haniel. Important. Why am I being so clumsy today? Okay. Important psychic insights. Events behind the scenes. Release fears that hold you back. So now there's fears and fears. And again, fear doesn't mean that you're afraid of something in the sense that it makes you feel like terror, or it just might mean that you just avoid it, or you act as if it's not something that you want, or you dismiss it, or you don't acknowledge it, or fear just means it's something you maybe pretend that is not there, but you feel subconsciously or emotionally underneath the surface that it's there. Release fears that hold you back. You might want to do an Archangel Haniel meditation or look her up. So again, the moon is things that are not seen, things that we believe, and at nights things can look a certain way, and then in the daylight it's clearer, and then it's not so scary, or it's not so distorted. There might be someone or something that you see in a bad light, and if you shed light on it, really look closer, really look deeper, look with compassion, you might see that it's not as bad as you think it is. The Eight of Earth. Skilled work is rewarded. Learning all there is to know about a topic. Going back to school. I don't feel like this is about work. It's more green energy. I feel like you need to take the time to look again, research, investigate, but not in a very logical way, from a heart-centered place. Like, investigate your emotions, or maybe there's a lot of things on the internet, on every social media platform, about a lot of different topics, relationships and inner child wounds, and manifestation and whatever. But a lot of stuff is still very from an ego-based place or from a fear-based place. Like, yes, as a woman, these messages about being independent and strong can be very empowering, but we can't negate the fact that we are created to exist in pairs, to love, to be in romantic relationships, that healthy, loving romantic relationships are possible. And just because we've been hurt before doesn't mean we need to vow to be independent, strong, single woman forever. There might be a belief, even though subconscious, or just deep within our emotional body, where all the men have disappointed us in our lives, and so it's hard to acknowledge and admit that you want a soft space to land, someone to hold your hand, and this can be for men as well. Men can be scorned as well. And act like they don't care, they don't want a relationship, or get into relationships, and then there might be an emotional exchange, but there's still a space, a gap, some degree of disconnect, because we are afraid of letting people or love into those deepest parts of ourselves. We could even be afraid of just acknowledging those deepest parts of ourselves. And there I go, channeling again. This is coming from somewhere. Six of Air. Things are looking up. The end of a difficult situation. Taking a trip. There's a boat here. This is about things becoming easier emotionally and or mentally. Where it could have been turbulent, chaotic, rocky before. Let's cut the deck and get one more. The Two of Earth, more green energy. There's definitely some heart chakra stuff going on here. So Maybe do a heart chakra meditation. Work with some green crystals. Libra, I feel like there's a little bit of vulnerability that you need to tap into. Like getting comfortable with wading in your emotions and going a little bit deep, even if just with yourself, until you feel safe doing that with someone else. Or maybe there should be at least one person in all of our lives. It would be nice if there were more, and if you have many people that you can be deeply emotionally vulnerable and open hearted with, then that's amazing. But at least one person where you might not want to say you've had a bad day, something bad happened, and your neighbor comes past and say, hi, how are you, okay? And then you say, yeah, I'm fine, and you go inside and you cry, right? That could be warranted. You don't want to cry around just everyone and be emotionally vulnerable with just anyone. But if your very best friend says, hey, I can see something's wrong, do you want to talk about it? You don't always have to say, no, I got this, no, I'm strong, no, I'm not going to cry, no, I don't show emotion, no, I'm not going to let this get to me. We can't always shove our emotions under the rug, and we don't always have to be consumed by it. But I feel like there's something about your heart chakra that wants to be acknowledged here. And yeah, that's the message. But I do want to get one final card as guidance, but I don't know which deck yet. Okay, because there's so much green in this reading, I'm going to use the Good Tarot, because the messages in here are super, super positive. They feel like affirmations to me. So let's get one final card for guidance for you, Libra. Besides step into your heart space, we have the Messenger of Water. Seahorses might be significant. Let's see. I want to read the message from this book. Romantic attraction, chivalry, admiration, seeing the best in others, heightened emotional awareness, a call to fall in love with yourself. I need to look for the best in others and honor it even when it seems a challenge to do so. My attractions stem from self-love and a knowledge that I am part of all love, which takes many forms, each exquisite in its own way. I can have what I desire. There is no need for jealousy, anger, resentment, or fear when I am love and love flows into me powerfully. So, Libra, what I think, maybe to have a look at what your love languages are. And then in a curious, not in a judgmental or critical way, self-deprecating way, ask yourself why. Why those specifically are your love languages, right? And maybe ask yourself how you show love. Is it acts of service? Is it quality time? Is it whatever? How do you show others love, and how do you usually want love to be shown to you? And then ask yourself, if you have any resistance to any of the other forms of love languages. Like, do you have a resistance to saying I love you, or emotional displays of affection, or whatever? And just having that awareness can let you sometimes say, hey, okay, maybe I'll show it in that way. Or when you see someone show it to you in that way, not to have resistance towards it unless you really have to. Yeah, that is the message, Libra. I could probably go into that a little bit more, but this is the gist of it, and this is a general reading. It's not specific. What I mentioned is just examples, and you can apply it as necessary for you, as it resonates. I hope this was helpful. This was interesting. This is different. If you're still here, please like, share, Comment if this resonates, if you'd like to share how, and subscribe, and please join me again in another video.